What up, y'all? It's Real Ball Watcher. Grab your binoculars, and I'm back with another video. We're going to get into it. Brian Thomas Jr. Roll that film, boy. Let's get into it. Brian Thomas Jr. Shout out Jaden McDaniels for winning Heisman. Just got that news today. Just so y'all know, I'm recording this video early. I'm on vacation. On Friday, I'm out the country in Jamaica. Or maybe I'm in Grand Caymans by then. But, so y'all run this video up. Like, subscribe, comment, all that, because I'm not going to be able to promote it as good as I do my other video. Shout out to y'all for showing out for the Lab McConkey video. I don't know if y'all showed out yet, but I'm going to say y'all did anyways. But let's get into it. Brian Thomas Jr., 6'4", 205, 21 years old, and he is a junior. I don't know if he's a true junior or red shirt, but he is a junior. 2021 stats, 12 games, 28 catches, 359 yards, 2 tutties. 2022 stats, 13 games, 31 catches, 361 yards, and 5 tutties. And then he got his year, the year of years. Breakout time, 2023, 12 games, 60 touchdowns, 1,079 yards, and 15 tutties, which I want to say led all FBS receivers in touchdowns, or maybe he was tied with Malik Neighbors. I don't know how the record ended, but most of the year he was leading in touchdowns, or him and Malik was tied. But that's his stats. Y'all know what I'm about to say for a couple of these points, because y'all should know by now. But let's go ahead and get into his strengths. The first thing that you notice when you look at my boy Brian Thomas Jr., he got some crazy long arms. Like, he looks like when you're playing 2K and you put the wingspan all the way up, you max his wingspan so you get 99 block when you're making a center, or it gets super high steal on your 3-and-D small forward, whatever you're making. Super long arms, which is really, really good, because that'll make him have a much larger catch radius. It'll help him high point balls better, be a better contested catcher, things like that. Or a great thing for him to have is very long arms, especially with that 6'4" frame. Crazy wingspan. I can't wait to see what it is at the combine. I don't have those numbers, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be a crazy wingspan. Also, great speed at his size, and just great speed in general. He's an effortless glider. I talked about this with Xavier Mitchell. I think I said it about Troy Franklin also, but especially Xavier Mitchell. He just glides. Like, it doesn't even look like he's trying to run fast. He's getting out of there. Brian Thomas Jr. has some of that same effect also, but he isn't as fast as Xavier. Is it Xavier? No, it's Xavier Worthy. I keep getting him and AD Mitchell's name put together. But Xavier Worthy, he doesn't have the same speed, but he still has that effortless looking run where he's just gliding. It looks like it's just easy for him. Great speed. I can't wait to see his 40 time. Also, he's really, really good at making guys miss. From the games I watched, I realized a lot of his production is him running 5-yard slants, 5 yards comebacks, maybe 10 yards. And they're just playing a soft zone. He's the last read in progression, catches it, makes a guy miss, makes another guy miss, and gets a couple yards, or turns it into a big play. I noticed that a lot. He's really good at making guys miss in small spaces or in an open field. I mean, he's really, really good at that. And it doesn't look like he's doing too many moves, but for some reason, it just works. I don't know how to explain this. For some reason, it just works. If you watched him before, you know what I mean. It just works. He rarely gets tackled by the first guy, especially if it's one-on-one. Another good thing that he does, especially in his deep route running, things like that, when he's running post, goes, things like that, he threatens the leverage of a DB. We talked about this last time with Lad. He threatens the DB's leverage. So he gets into the blind spot, and because he has so much speed, as soon as the DB flips that head, out of there. Opposite direction. So that's really why he's so much separation on a lot of those big deep ball passes that y'all see in his highlights. It's because he's getting into the DB's blind spot, getting into the DB's leverage, and kind of breaking it off. And since he has so much speed, he's out of there. It's not really much time to recover, and you're probably not going to recover anyway, because you got to have some crazy speed to catch a guy this fast. The next point I really have is he is really he's good at ball tracking. He doesn't have the ball tracking that I would say Xavier Worthy has, because the clips I have for Xavier Worthy was crazy. But a lot of his catches, he's kind of looking over his shoulder, catching the ball straight with his hands. He's not even bringing it in with his body, catching it with his hands, because he's really good at just tracking the ball. And Jaden Daniels has this really, really pretty rainbow deep ball, so he's kind of almost catching punts at times. And he's really good at catching the ball and ball tracking downfield. And we talked about how good of a trait that is to have with a quarterback like a Bryce Young, who is a really good anticipatory thrower, or like a, not necessarily CJ Stroud, because CJ Stroud is much more pinpoint accuracy. He's going to put it in the exact spot you need. Of course, you still got to track it, but he's going to do a lot of that work. But when you're throwing it deep, you still need to be able to track the ball. So it would be really good with CJ Stroud, who throws those moon balls as well. He's a big play Big play and deep ball threat. Like I said, we talked about him threatening DB's leverage and getting deep. We talked about him having long arms so he can high point catches down the field. We talked about him having so much speed that he just blows by guys. He's a big play and deep pass threat just waiting to happen. Like when I'm watching this film, it's like, all right, okay, 4 catches if he's just underneath, making a guy miss, going out. Next thing you know, boom, big play. Oh, okay, two, 3 more regular play. Boom, big play. It's like, oh, this guy's different, especially when it comes to getting the ball deep downfield. He's a threat all the time. He's pretty good with a contested catch also. I would like to see him attack the ball at a higher point more. Maybe it was just the games that I watched. He did attack the ball at the high point and when it was contested catch, but a lot of times I did see him kind of bring it into his body, things like that. And for somebody that's 6'4" with those long arms, I kind of want to see you attack it a little bit more. But like I said, we got to watch more film. I can't wait to get more film on him. He's one of these guys, I'll go ahead and get this out of the way. He's one of these guys where I have more questions about him than I have answers. If you watch my videos, I kind of have a lot of answers for these guys, telling you exactly who these guys are. But this is one of the guys that I watched and I'm like, man, I don't know what to think. I was really high on him before watching the film, started watching the film, got lower, started watching better games, started getting a little higher again. He's kind of a mixed bag for me. But anyways, the last good point I have is he has really quick feet at the line. He has really quick, choppy feet at the release point. Not at the release point, at the line of scrimmage where he's trying to release off the line and getting off DB's press and things like that. He's really, really good, quick, choppy feet, and that's kind of why he's pretty good after the catch also, because his feet are just so good. They move a million miles a minute when he needs them to. But for now, that's all the positives I have. Like I said, this is one of the guys that I watched, and I'm like, man, I got way more questions than I do answers, and I'm not gonna lie. Since we're going to get to the stuff that's not really his game, I am a lot lower than I would perceive myself to be before I start watching the all-22 to get ready for this video. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get to the stuff that's not really his game. Y'all already know what the first point gonna be when it comes to stuff that's not his game. Simply lack of production. We seen the stats at the beginning of the year, beginning of the video. 300 yards, 2 tutties, 5 tutties, barely even getting 30 catches. He really wasn't productive until this year. Automatic red flag. I really don't even have to get into it because we've had this with a couple of different guys. Y'all know how I feel about that, and y'all should feel the same way. But the next thing that I really noticed immediately as soon as I turned the tape on, he's a slender guy. I know he's 205, but he's a slender guy for that, especially how tall he is. He just runs with his chest exposed and out. He's running routes and his hands are just below his waist and his chest is just out. I'm just imagining somebody like a Jalen Ramsey, take it off Jalen Ramsey, just a physical corner, punching him in his chest and running him off the line, keeping him stagnant in his route, making the QB immediately come off that read because he's just getting beat up at the line. That's just what I'm imagining. In college, you don't maybe see that as much because guys are kind of scared of getting beat deep, threatening with their speed. But in the NFL, where guys are damn near on the same level athletically, I could see a lot of teams coming up and pressing him at the line, and I could see him kind of struggling to produce right away because he's run with his chest exposed so much. He's not really gearing down, kind of hiding his chest. He's not really keeping his hands up, and that's kind of the next thing into this. He does not use his hands throughout the route. I talked about this with Ladd McConkey, talked about this with Troy Franklin, talked about this with A.D. Mitchell with those subtle push-offs, swiping guys' hands away so guys can kind of be off balance and can't really get a good, get good leverage on you when they're covering you. This guy does not care. It's as soon as you go to punch or put your hand on him, instead of swiping your hand away or trying to make a move, he immediately like dips his shoulder like he's an edge rusher and he's trying to dip and rip around the tackle. Red flag for me, because as soon as you dip your shoulder, that's going to slow down your momentum. He's super athletic, so he can get right back up to speed. But when you're in the NFL and you're playing guys that are much better athletically and at the same skill level as you, you don't want to run with your chest exposed, or as soon as here comes contact, you're trying to duck around it. Instead of just making a good move as a route technician, you're trying to you're playing the wrong position in the route at times, because I just don't understand him trying to dip under. It doesn't really work because you're 6'4", but it just, I don't know. That was really getting on my nerves when I was watching the, let me not say that, but it was really kind of getting me when I was watching the tape, because his chest is always out. As soon as contact comes, he's trying to like kind of not scared of contact, but it's like, ooh, don't touch me. Let me dip up under this. Let me get up under the tackle. And it's like, dude, you know you're a wide receiver, right? Like, just run your route, square the DB up, move him in the opposite direction and go. But You know, I don't know. It's just like I said, this thing is called not his game, so it's just not in his game right now. And when I'm watching the tape, I always remember people on Twitter saying, "Oh, he's a good route runner. He's a good this." I'm not saying he's a bad route runner, but I ain't saying he good. I mean, he's not that savvy of a route runner. Like I say, he doesn't use his hands. He runs with his chest out. Whenever contact comes, he's not really squaring up the defender. He's just dipping under it. The good things that I can give him for route running, like I said, he has quick, choppy feet, which can help at the release at the line, but he didn't really impress me with too many release packages, but he had a couple, so that's something that I can see is a positive in his game, and he's good at releasing at the line somewhat. And like I said, he plays into the blind spot of the DB, which I do want to see if that translates, because he doesn't look like he's just generationally fast. So when guys are, you know, kind of used to the speed that he has, I want to see if he's going to be able to threaten into that blind spot and get up out of there at the next level like he did in college. But outside of that, he's not this crazy route runner to me. I mean, I didn't watch all the games. Like I said, this is one of the guys I'm probably going to come back to first once I get more all-22. But I didn't really see him dropping his hips too much. I didn't see him using his hands enough. I mean, here and there he did, but I didn't see him using it enough. I didn't see him kind of hiding his chest, keeping his frame tight so DBs can't just beat up on him. It was a lot that left to be desired for somebody that I was told was such a, not like a great route runner, but he was a good route runner up there with A.D. Mitchell, things like that. The next thing I really have is he doesn't really separate in the short to intermediate route running on digs, curls, slants. He's not really separating like that. Drags, I mean, those are usually against zone. He's not really separating like that because, like I said, he's just not that nuanced or savvy of a route runner from the games that I watched. Let me preface this. I did not watch every game in his career. I didn't even watch every game of this season. I think I watched 4 or 5 games from this season. And from what I've seen, he just doesn't separate that much in the short to intermediate. Now, that's fine. He is a big play threat. So you get him the ball in space, or you get the ball in his hands, and he can make a play out of nothing. And with the speed he has, he can take it the distance. So that's not necessarily say he won't be good, but I did notice that most of his separation came when he was playing deep or going deep with that speed, or if it was in zone and he just caught something underneath and made something happen after. The last thing that I really say is he doesn't really break off routes effectively as I like, or as violently as I'd like. You kind of want to see guys snap routes off. Come on. You gotta want to see guys snap routes off. Kind of want to see guys violently stopping, turning downhill, things like that. I don't see it, man. Like I said, he has quick feet, but I'm just not seeing the savviness of somebody that I was told was a good route runner. Not to call anybody out or say anybody's lying, but just when I watched the tape, I came in with this preconceived notion that, okay, he should be a good route runner. He should have some really good speed. He should have some really good ball tracking and really good hands at the contested catch point, and is a big play threat. That just wasn't the case for some time. With that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get to his player build and see what I could cook up for him right quick. Now, y'all know me when it comes to these player builds. This is my favorite thing to do. Once I come up with the full eval, I think about, okay, who do they remind me of? What is their play style? And with the things that I went over, like I said, when I watched this tape, I had way more questions than I did answers, which I'm not used to, and which is why I'm so ready to come back to this later on towards the end of the draft cycle, so I can kind of update this and maybe have a better idea of who he is. But today, what I'm gonna have to say we built is a big play ball of clay. Like I said, I just have too many questions. He has too many things that I need to see him get better at, and kind of develop traits to really say what his play style will be. Like he has to run better routes. He has to run with his chest not exposed. He has to keep his hands up, use his hands more. He has to show me a little bit more nuance in his route running. He has to be a little bit better at snapping routes off, things like that. And that's just a lot of things to develop. I will say he has really good hands. I didn't really see too many bad catches. I did read that he had a drop problem before. I won't speak to that because I didn't see it when I watched it. But he does have really good ball tracking, really good hands from what I've seen. But it's just everything else outside of things after the catch, everything else that I think he just needs to improve at. And with the lack of production that he had, I can see why those numbers look like that and why it correlated to things like that. before he kind of broke out this year with Jaden Daniels, yeah, whatever bro name is, you know who it is, the Heisman, going crazy this year. He just has too much that left me to be desired, and hopefully that'll change the next time we come around this. But right now we got a big play ball of clay. That's who he is. For his comparisons, for what I had, kind of because of frame, speed, lack of nuance in his routes wise, I had Christian Watson as his ceiling. Christian Watson is still a ball of clay. We're trying to see what he could be. He's kind of showing up this year, but with the injuries he had, we haven't seen too much of him, haven't seen too much of him develop. Because when he was playing in North Dakota State, he was really an end-around, post-go guy with Trey Lance just throwing it as far as he can. He tracking the ball and going crazy at his size. So that's kind of his high-end ceiling, because when you look at these other kind of elite guys, I don't see the traits that they have in their play styles to really name him. Like, I don't see the route running of somebody like CeeDee Lamb. I don't see the what could I say, big play ball ability, kind of like snatching the ball out of the air of a Mike Evans. I don't see the crazy nuanced route running with feet, angles, discipline of like a Devontae Adams. I just don't see that. So his high end for right now is just gonna have to be Christian Watson, somebody who's also trying to, you know, finish development. The next thing I have is Robbie Anderson, whatever you want to call him, Panthers legend. Another guy that's kind of was just a good ball tracking deep ball threat with a big, long, slender frame. Pause. But yeah, that's kind of, I can just see him playing in that exact mode from the traits that I see on tape of him now. That's kind of who he reminds me the most of, is Robbie Anderson and kind of their play style, especially when Robbie Anderson was with the Panthers, where he showed a little bit more after the catch, a little bit more in his routes, not just go balls and things like that. And the last thing I really have is somebody that was recent is Jalen Hyatt, another guy that I kind of wanted to see more from his route running. I kind of wanted to see better production from him in college outside of 1 year. Another guy I want to say that's pretty tall and was a slender frame and kind of left a little bit to be desired. Just a ball of clay that if you could mold and turn into something and develop well, you cooking. You got something on your hands. But until I see that, I'm not going to give him this crazy comparison that he plays just like this guy. He's the next coming to this. I don't see it right now. When I come back later on, hopefully I do. But with the lack of production, the things that I said that's not really his game that needs to develop, which are really important things, I can't be too positive on him. Now, I think with the physical traits that he has, with his ball tracking ability, which is great for a receiver, with his good hands, and with his play or big play ability after the catch, I think I'm still pretty high on him as a good receiver at the next level, and I don't think he should drop way down the draft rankings like that one guy that, if you've been following my Twitter, the one guy I've been telling y'all is not good. But I'm not going to say that on here because this ain't here to be negative. That's why I didn't do a video on him. But I don't think he's that bad. I just think if you're expecting him to be good year one, you're wrong. If you're expecting him to be good year two, I could maybe see it if you have a good development staff, a good wide receiver coach, but you can also still be wrong. Now, watch this boy come out here and just snap and be the best receiver in the league year one, and now I look stupid. That's what happens when you put things on wax. But I'm ready to stand on my take, just like I did with Quentin Johnston, or whatever you want to say it. But I'm just here to stand on my take, and that's what I got for you right now. So if you like the video, like, comment, subscribe, turn on the post notifications, because when the next video come out for Brian Thomas Jr., I promise I'm going to have more answers for you, and I'm going to stand in whatever I say. You know what it is. It's been the Real Ball Watcher. Put your binoculars up. We out.